vanilla bean inside, we have three components right now. We have our cornstarch and our sugar, and we have our eggs. Why are we not mixing the sugar directly into the eggs and then adding the cornstarch? Why do we mix the sugar with the cornstarch?
This is better.
Because it helps break up the cornstarch so that it doesn't get clumpy. Okay, cornstarch gets really clumpy when you put it into something, whether it's hot or cold or whatever. You always want to put it into cold. So what we want to do here is mix these two together so you have a paste that's going to be tempered with this liquid. You don't need two bowls. So let's combine those two together. This is your team, right? Yeah, go for it. It's probably easier if you go the other way because then you won't lose that egg mixture. So pour it all together. You just get a much smoother paste when you mix that cornstarch and sugar together first and then add it to your eggs, okay? Now most people utilize this pastry cream as is when you're done with it. I just find it a little too gluey. And our ratios are fine. It's not necessarily glue. If you've ever had pastry cream not from scratch and it's very, very thick and it's hard to eat, I don't enjoy it at all. So that's one of the reasons why I like to put the whipped cream in it, to make it lighter and more airier. Also, it helps lessen the sugar in it because we're not adding sugar to the whipped cream, but you just have to be careful how much cornstarch you're adding. You don't need too much. So this one though, remember, cornstarch is activated at 180 degrees. So it doesn't take much by the time we add this together for it to actually thicken. But we want to cook it for about a minute longer after it does thicken and it'll start to bubble to help cook that starchiness out of there. Okay?
What makes it, I made something for, it wasn't your recipe, it was somebody's recipe, and it was really kind of grainy.
Okay, so green is from using a non-stainless, grainy.
It didn't just sugar.
You probably overcooked the eggs a little. I don't know.
I was pretty careful, but it just didn't, it wasn't great.
Huh. It should not be greeny at all, but you have to take a couple precautions. So some of those precautions are tempering, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to pour half of this mixture into there. And you're always whisking and loosening that up. And then you're going to pour the rest of that in here while you're whisking, leaving the vanilla bean in there the whole time because you're going to get the most flavor out of it. Okay, so now you want to put your whisk inside of the pot. And then pour that in. Okay, we need the temperature. So when you have your heat on, you want to keep it around a medium heat. If it's too high, it can go too fast. If it's too low, it'll sit there forever and do this. And also important that you say grainy, but I was thinking gray, is that if you're using an aluminum pot, then you're scraping with the the whisk. You are incorporating some of that metal into your product, and you will very easily see a greenish color tint to your pastry cream. And not that it tastes bad, but it looks awful. And we eat with our eyes, so we have to be very careful with that. So what we're trying to do here is not necessarily beat it to death, because when we are whisking something, we're actually cooling it down. You're seeing that steam come off, that's heat that is dissipating, and we're cooling it where we want to heat it. So all I'm really is concerned about right now is that you're moving it around from the corner edges. It's actually ideal to work in a sloped sided pot rather than a straight sided if you have the opportunity, because then it won't get stuck in those edges and you won't get those scrambled eggs. No, that's
the vanilla bean.
Vanilla bean. You're welcome. You just move it around like this. We don't want to create a lot of foam to this dish. And we just want to move it around so that it's heating evenly. Now you can turn it up just a little bit. That's pretty low.